doing well. Today we're talking about herbal supplements. So I'm just on my way to work right now, and I just want to do this live. You guys, if you're a frequent viewer or subscriber to this channel, you know that I've started to do live stream in the mornings when I'm on my way to work. My job is about hour and a half to 2 hours away from my home, and so I just do some lives in the meantime, just to use all my time wisely. Today, the temperature is actually not too bad. It's actually 8 degrees, going up to a high of 10, which, living in Canada, that's, yeah, it is what it is, guys. But anyways, welcome to the live, guys. If you're just joining us and you're not subscribing as yet, please hit that subscribe button. So today, like I mentioned before, we're talking about herbal supplements. So herbal medicines is nothing new. People have been using herbal medicines for many centuries, and they've used it for all sort of ailments, relaxation, aches and pains, even meditation in some respects. And herbal medicines is treated way differently than your standard prescription drug medication, or even OTC or over-the-counter drugs, right? Regular drugs go through very stringent testing, right? There's toxicity testing to make sure it's not toxic, first of all. There is I guess safety testing, which is, of course, for part of the toxicity testing. They test effectiveness or efficacy, right, to make sure it's effective. This is all through clinical trials. And if it passes all of those criteria, then it's marketed, right? So first they test it, make sure it's safe and effective, and market it. Now, herbal supplements is quite different. Because herbal supplements has less risk than the standard medications. I mean, I know this because I work in the field. I work in the industry. I've been working for pharmaceuticals for more than 10 years, and so I know the regulations. I know the ins and outs of the pharmaceutical industry. And yeah, so it's a very highly regulated industry. But getting back to herbal supplements, and just to clarify, herbal supplements are regulated differently in each jurisdiction. So for example, here in Canada, herbal supplements are regulated by Health Canada, right? And herbal supplements are known as NHPs, or natural health products. So before you market natural health product, you need to get what's called an NPN number, natural health product number, right? Which means you have to, to some respect, there's some testing that goes on. You have to make sure that you're safe, right? That you're not contaminated. But again, the type of testing is less stringent than regular drug products, right? In the US, it's different. Herbal supplements are treated as, they call it dietary supplements. So it's basically food. So there's no, pre-market registration. You don't have to go through a lot of, hoops to market your product. However, you must make sure that it doesn't cause any detrimental effect to the health. And it's a similar case in Europe and other places, right? But the point I'm trying to make is there is been a global crackdown on herbal medicines, because many companies, they are aware that there's less requirements to market herbal medications than your standard drug product. So they they're very loose with the way they process these products. And as a result of that, some products are contaminated, some products are mislabeled. So, for example, you know, there's a lot of supplements, herbal supplements, or other dietary supplements that are contaminated with arsenic, lead, mercury, and other heavy metals because of the way they're grown. Okay, and the regulators periodically, it's called pharmacovigilance, right? They go out, they sample medications, and they'll find a lot of toxic stuff. So that's why you hear about a lot of recalls of medication and sometimes food. It's because the companies that are manufacturing, responsible for the quality of these products, they're not following the guidelines. Okay. Also, you know, although some herbal medications have been used for many years, many centuries, recently they're finding out that the a lot of these supplements are causing a lot of health problems, like liver toxicity. That's one of them. So, for example, medications such as ashwagandha, a lot of people use it for mental wellness, vitality, and other other health benefits, right? And it is beneficial. I'm not promoting any medication, but it is beneficial. But there's a dark side to these herbal supplements. So they found that due to the liver toxicity of ashwagandha and also green tea extracts, they are now cracking down on a lot of these medications or herbal medications on dietary supplements, right? So this is not only happening in in one jurisdiction. So in Europe, in U.S., Canada, they're all interconnected, right? I myself, I do believe in herbal medicines, and I'm not like a fanatic or anything like that. But obviously, plants are good. There's a lot of good medication that comes from plants and extracts. But you also have to be wise, because um, just because a plant or some medicines are natural doesn't mean is that it's safe, right? There are many plant species that are toxic, so you have to be really careful with what you're putting into your body. And even if it's beneficial, too much of that um, extract or plant could have really negative effects on your health, right? So, guys, welcome, welcome. Thank you so much for joining the live. Today, I'm talking about herbal supplements or herbal extracts. Um, there's been a global crackdown on medications such as, or herbal medicines, and dietary supplements for that matter, because they're finding out that there are a lot of issues that are causing health problems, right? They're even finding certain, supplements that have real products in it, right? That should be going through the standard, drug submissions. So they're finding laxatives, they're finding anabolic steroids, they're finding so many, I guess just call it cross contaminants, right? That contaminate drug products. And this is not to scare anyone, but people have to be aware that these things are happening. So when you see something on the shelf, we want to trust that there's no issue. We want to trust that it was produced and manufactured, in a safe manner, and the quality is very high, right? But not, it doesn't happen all the time, and the proof is in the pudding, right? Almost every day there's a recall. There's not only drug recalls, but there's food recalls because of mislabeling. For example, let's take a food product for example. Um, there are allergens obviously, and in the regulation for for example, the U.S. FDA regulations and also the Canadian health regulations, they list 10 allergens, right? I think in the U.S. they have 11 allergens. So fish is one. Fish, shellfish like crab, crustaceans, peanuts, tree nuts, sulfites. Those are all mustard. Those are all allergens. So if you have those products inside any of your food or drug for that matter, you have to put it on the label, right? Drugs are a little bit different. Normally they don't have allergenic products in drug products, right? You're not supposed to. Food are a little bit different because not everyone is allergic to those allergens. So if you have those, you have to put on labels. So one of the issues why there's food recalls is that um, sometimes there's, for example, milk. Milk is also considered an allergen. If there's milk in even in your chocolate, which it should be common sense, then you have to put on the label that it contains milk, right? Because people are allergic to milk. But if you don't have it there and you put your product on the market, then the FDA or Health Canada is going to pull it off the shelf, right? So for medicines now, what's happening is they're putting wheat as fillers and a lot of stuff that should not be in there, and they're not putting anything on the label. And then Health Canada or the FDA finds out and then recalls those. Or even worse than that, if it's not caught, they're going to pull it off. Sorry, the people that's going to take it, they're going to get sick, and they're going to wonder, well, why am I sick? What's happening? I didn't do anything abnormal. I didn't eat anything abnormal. But they're taking this dietary supplement, some type of allergen that's undeclared on the label, and so you get sick from that. So guys, welcome guys. Thank you so much for joining. I'm just on my way to work, and we're talking about natural health products or dietary supplements or herbal supplements. Okay, guys. So I work about hour and a half, 2 hours away, and today's not too bad in terms of the weather conditions. I mean, it's 7 degrees, going up to a high of 9, and also the highway is. I'm so scared. I'm so scared to comment on the highway because as soon as I open my mouth, boom, the traffic crawls in. Thank you guys. Thank you for joining, guys. Today we're talking about dietary supplements, herbal medications as I drive into work, guys. How long have I been here? 12 minutes. So if you do take any type of those medication, put in the comments if you do take herbal supplements, and you don't have to say what you take if you don't want to. But do you think it works better than standard medicines? What do you guys think about dietary supplements? Because a lot of again, like I said before, there are a few issues. Well, it's been going on for years, I suspect, but recently there's more scrutiny. There's more technology, more awareness. People are more educated now. So manufacturers of these products, they can't hide so easily. Like I said, I've been in the industry for quite a while, and there's a lot of work that goes into bringing a product to the market. A lot of testing, a lot of documentation, um, and you just have to. The first thing, whenever you're in this type of industry, you have to comply with ethical rules, right? So yes, everyone wants to make money, and unfortunately, a lot of companies put money in front of ethics, right? They want things done right away, boom, 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 right? But when you try to, make money too fast, right, you're gonna break the rules. And when you break the rules, then you put people's lives at risk, right? So that's the number one, right? To be a great company, you follow the ethics first, and then yeah, your product's gonna be successful, right? It may cost you a lot of money to follow the rules and use good products, follow good processes. But at the end of the day, you know your product is safe, people are going to trust you and keep buying your products. But if you're going to, you know, poison people with, you know, stuff that shouldn't be in your herbal supplements, then most likely you're going to, you know, first of all, you're going to harm people. Your product's going to get pulled off the shelf. Your brand is going to get tainted, and you know nobody's going to trust you anymore. So the first thing is ethics. If you want to succeed in anything that you do, not only in, you know, pharmaceuticals, right, but in any industry, food, even in your daily lives, right, you have to do things ethical. So welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining. We're talking about a crackdown on herbal supplements or dietary supplements. They're finding a lot of contaminants in, you know, in herbal supplements. You know, they're finding, you know, laxatives, you know, allergens, heavy metals, you know, steroids, and you know, and don't get me wrong, you know, a lot of these products are, you know, they're safe. They're, well, I can't really vouch for it, but you know, they're manufactured with high quality. But many things that you just purchase, maybe see something on Amazon, you don't know how they make it. So you know, what I'm saying is you have to be so careful in, you know, in what you're putting into your body. And you know, it's not fear mongering. You just got to be aware. You know, you don't have to be scared, but just be smart. Um, and just, you know, think about what you're buying. Inspect stuff, because sometimes you just dump stuff in a pot. You're eating it, and sometimes, you know, the things that you are putting in, maybe it's not good, right? Maybe there's like mold or whatever on it. Some things they do go bad before they're expired. But that's why it's good that, I mean, maybe because, you know, I'm into quality, right? So usually before I you know, if I gonna eat something, I always kind of, well, not always, but I usually look at it, look over it, make sure there's nothing in it, and then you eat it. Because something we take for granted that, oh yeah, everything is so good, everything is clean, everything is safe, and you just down it, and then you start feeling sick, and you're like, oh my God, what happened? That's what's happening, guys. So welcome, guys. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm on my way to work, folks, and I'm taking you along with, you know, with Murad here in the city of Toronto. Oh, Toronto, Toronto. Oh, good life. I need to work out. See, we're talking about herbal supplements, and there you go, guys. It's good to take care of your body. Modern, traditional. So my work is about hour and a half to 2 hours away, and I usually work from home. You know, I go in a couple times per week, maybe more. But now they want me to come in more often, so I'm probably gonna, I don't know, be there maybe uh, 4 days per week, maybe Monday to Friday sometimes. But hey, it's a job, right? You got to pay the bills, the Buffalo Bills, so I can take my dietary supplements. So where you guys joining from, guys? Put it in the comments. Please hit the subscribe button, folks. Help a brother out. Oh, I'm passing by Vaughan Mills. That's you know, one of the newer malls there here in Canada. I haven't been here for a while, but it's a very nice mall. I think for the most part, the malls are very similar here in Canada. I've been to the Philippines. Their malls are huge, like maybe twice as big as, you know, some of these malls here in Toronto. There's one called the Mall of Asia, and it is super super. I think that's the maybe the second or third biggest mall in the world or in Asia. Yeah, but it's pretty big. Like it has like any stores you can think of, any stores. Okay, let me go. So I'm going to go on the 407, folks. Well, at least when I see it. That highway is so expensive. At one point, I owed him like 11,000. Oh my God, everything here is so expensive in Canada, man. Canada is one of the most expensive countries in the world, as far as I could tell. I mean, people are trying to buy, like, you can't afford a house, or you can't afford rent. So you're gonna live on the streets. It's crazy, man. So, guys, before I am deciding on the toll routes, and I think I gotta go what, east or west, guys. Am I going east or west on this baby? Oh, I'm taking a chance. I'm gonna go west. I'm going west because I'm the best. Yeah, folks. So thank you so much for joining. Hit the subscribe button. We're talking about dietary supplements or herbal supplements. It's not, if you're just joining us, we're talking about the issues such as contamination with those supplements. And again, these products have been used for many years, many decades, many centuries, for all sort of ailments. The drug products, then a lot of companies manufacture them very loosely, right? And then it causes a lot of health problems for people because it's contaminated with all sort of stuff. Some of them are unsanitary, some of them have heavy metals, some of them have allergens, right? And so there's a huge crackdown. Some of them cause liver toxicity. That's one of the big issues. And so countries like India, they're actually banned. They started to ban ashwagandha, at least the one that's made from the leaves of ashwagandha, because I think the leaves are more potent. Maybe the stems or other parts of the plants is not as potent and may cause issues, right? Green tea extracts, the same thing. Other medications, they're really cracking down on. And again, people have been using these for many years. But because of a lot of companies are greedy and they just want to make money. They don't really care about if these things are contaminated or what type of health effects it's going to have on the general public. So they're very loose with it. And it's unfortunate that we live in a time that people care more about money than people's health. you know. So eyes are what you're choosing. So right now, guys, I'm actually, let me see, I am actually on the highway heading to work. I'm gonna end this live shortly. I normally do like these type of lives. You know, if I feel like it, if I'm just, I may do one maybe 3-4 times per week. If I'm driving to work. So if you wanna join, I appreciate you joining and subscribing if you're interested in, you know, my yapping in terms of talk about different things, general stuff going on in Canada, stuff going on in the world, health related stuff like this, stuff that we do during the summertime. I also have different videos on this platform, on this channel, so you can always go ahead and look at it. I also have a next channel called Circle of Fortress. It's a Circle of Fortress. So Fortress is the number 4, TRESS, Circle of Fortress. So you can check it out. That's more like my family. We take trips to Niagara Falls or Philippines or Jamaica or whatever. So if you like stuff like that, feel free, guys. I'd appreciate your support. Yeah. All right, guys. So thanks for joining. I already said a lot about herbal supplements. I know some people may be just joining, but people who are already here, I don't want to sound like a broken record. We're talking about, herbal supplements being contaminated. Some of it, being contaminated, with a lot of, allergens and steroids and stuff like that. Some companies, right? For the most part, I'm assuming that everything is fine, whatever's on the shelf, but um, the regulators are finding that companies are not making these products in a safe manner, right? And even if it's manufactured in a safe manner, liver and other causes other issues. So you just have to, be wise, do your own research before you take these things. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. I'm gonna end this live now. I try not to go, over say 20 minutes. Um, let me see about. Oh, it's been 25 minutes. Okay. So thank you, guys. So have yourself a wonderful day, guys. Blessings. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe. Blessings. Take care, guys.